hustle every day and night. I'm flexing like a shark with an appetite. I'm making you a believer. Have some faith, I'll make you a believer.
Super excited to be doing another coffee talk. It's been a while, and I'm really excited about our guest today, and I think you're going to be really excited as well. So I'd like to introduce Matt Earle. He's the president of Reputation.ca, and we are going to have a chat about him, about his company, and the reason that I wanted him to come on the show, I like to bring in people that are innovators and a little bit different, especially in that digital space. Is when I learned about his company, I was really fascinated about the company, how he grew the company, and I thought he would make a great guest. And after talking to him, I'm still really impressed, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say today, and I think you will be too. So I'm going to start off with, hey, hi, Matt. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming on today. We're excited to have you. And I guess the first thing is, little introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us a little bit about your company, and I'll dive in a lot deeper, but, a little bit about the sales pitch of what your company does.
So yeah, I've lived in Toronto. I'm born and raised here. I've been interested in computers and engineering and internet marketing my whole life, really. I have a bit of a background in agencies. So I worked for an agency in Toronto. I worked for like a big car insurance website for a while, learned a whole bunch of SEO, but yeah, background in digital agency, and then worked for an offshore bank, and then moved on into internet marketing. And then reputation management, took an interest in that. So I'm been in this business for a long time. I know quite a bit about it, but it's been interesting.
Excellent. So just maybe for everyone's information, and I didn't know anything about Reputation.ca. I didn't know a company like that actually existed. So I was really interested in sort of the ins and outs of it. So, tell us a little bit today just about what your company does and, what the benefits are. And we can dive a little bit deeper later. But I think everyone's going to find it interesting just to talk about what you actually do on, in your day-to-day life in your business.
So we manage internet reputations for businesses and people. What is an internet reputation? It's basically the information that comes up when people do online research about you. So that can be in Google, they Google a business. Like, I'm going to go to a restaurant, the decorations look good on the outside. Let's check out the reviews. So, reputations exist within search, within reviews, and within social media. And we manage all of that to make sure that a company or person looks good when people research them.
Yeah, and I think that's so fascinating because I'm going to dive in a bit deeper in like some of the intricacies, because I do get clients every now and then that have a few issues with their reputation, and I'm going to see if your company, if that is something that you can help them with or not help them with. But some of the questions that I get asked are bad Google reviews, but not just one or two bad Google reviews. Sometimes there's been maybe some malicious intent with Google reviews. So you've got a competitor that comes in and leaves Google reviews that are definitely not legit. You've reached out to Google, they're not doing anything about it, and that can really affect your reputation as a whole. So that could be a small part of your business, but I'm just wondering, is that something that you do help businesses with as well? Is that a small part? And maybe just a little tip on how people can help overall when that happens, because it does happen quite a bit. I've seen it happen with quite a few of our clients over the years.
Yeah, reviews, we call it reviews management, and it's basically getting more positive reviews, removing negative reviews, and responding and managing the reviews that exist on your profile. Sometimes it actually involves starting from scratch. So if you buy a business or you get into a business that completely changes their business model and they're no longer doing what they got all those reviews for, we do something called a Google reset. We have various solutions for various problems. We use a software we basically set up a software for our clients to go in and seek reviews from their clients, drip email them, offer them a tablet in the business where they can, like, if they have a positive experience, you go, here, leave a review on this tablet. Various systems like that to get more good reviews. And then we also attack any of the negative reviews. There's various ways and proprietary sort of techniques we've used to delete reviews. We're able to delete, maybe 20 or 30% of the bad reviews that we attempt to. We do that on a guaranteed basis. And then for people that come to us with like a 1 out of 5 and they've totally changed the business or new owner or something, we do something we call a Google My Business reset. So we just like start over and go through a whole process and then give them the profile, and they can start gathering reviews and earning a reputation for that.
I always like to help, sometimes smaller businesses coming in because startups like to help startups. And I always hear, how do I get my name out there? What's the best way for me to start? It's a big world out there. You can't just come up in every Google search when you're starting out. So what did you do to grow that business in the first few years? Because I know that must have been tough.
Make your business referable. Make it so you get a customer, you have a customer, and they are literally telling their friends. Because this is something where like close friends, it almost looks like they've hired like a spy agency. Like they actually look intelligent and shrewd for having hired us. So they're sitting there at a golf club or wherever, and they're talking to their buddy and they, I hired these people. And it's like unfortunately, it's not referable where they're going to go tell the whole world that they hired us, but in those kind of locker room conversations in the, on the first tee or whatever, they'll have that conversation and tell their friends. So I want to make sure the business had a very high satisfaction rate. That involved a lot of difficult stuff to make sure the results worked. There was also, like you're noticing, it's an interesting business. So we sought out media placements. We've been on TV, in the news, on the radio quite a bit, and that started really early. Like you're also noticing, it wasn't even really an industry. Like the industry now is called online reputation management, but like that term wasn't even fully developed until about 2010. And when we were first doing this, there was no online reputation management. You Google it, there's a few people talking about it. There's no conferences, it doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I mean, it was just a new concept at that point.
I also think that there must have been times where, because it was so groundbreaking, that you had some moments where it was scary, right? It was difficult, the challenges. And maybe just tell me a bit about what were some of the, peaks and valleys or ups and downs, and how did you kind of get around those?
Even now, there's still a challenge, and it gets better every year, but there's still a challenge of awareness, like you're talking about. Like it's 2023, it's 13 years later, people are going, I'd never even occurred to me to hire someone to do this.
I'm interested also, and I think people would be interested in maybe telling me a little bit about like anything that's more individual and more of that sort of secret cleaning up of reputations of people that are maybe famous or maybe just, they're business leaders. Like, is that something that you also do? Or is that something, what does that look like?
We have lots of prominent executives. We have people that are on TV, on Netflix, on Amazon Prime. We have actors as clients. It's usually a more involved process, and we work with lawyers too. So there's certain things that we do with lawyers. For example, if someone makes an attack blog, like this happens, like there's over public companies where it's always money. Everything, is money's at stake. But there's situations where you want to make a company look really bad. So you make a blog that attacks the company, and then you short the company and you can make money in that way. Things like that. And what we do is like through a legal and investigative process, because again, our mission is to manage people's reputations. Sometimes that involves attacking a specific piece of content to get that off search results. And so the content's sitting there and we attack it. We have to be the people who can solve that problem for our clients. So, we've been through cases where we're doing hyper interesting cyber investigation, like looking at logs from who made that blog, looking at histories of registering that domain, looking at like Wayback Machine and what that was a couple of years ago. Like sometimes people will convert their blog to attack someone, but like 10 years ago, they were like telling stories about their hometown on that blog. And so going to Wayback Machine, like they delete it, right? Like they deleted it 6 years ago,
Still
but
there.
it's still sitting there in Wayback Machine. We've done all sorts of, also through legal processes, you can get information about the host and you get all this, like what would be garbage to people, but it's logins of login access on blogs. We've done a lot of kind of interesting sort of spy cyber investigation to find out who's attacking people and then, proceed with litigation and other stuff.
And I think that's so fascinating. And maybe it's just because I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to digital media, anything and everything where you start to research and dig deep, and I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by data. I'm fascinated about how algorithms work and how blogs can affect, good or bad, search engine results. So I think it's so fascinating, the behind the scenes that I'm not aware of and other people aren't aware of. And I guess, another thought is, so would that actually take some, let's say, articles that are on, when you search someone on the first page of Google and just bury them or get them so that more positive articles are coming up to improve that reputation, and then those negative ones are sort of filtering to page 8, 9, and just kind of eventually going away? Is that sort of a bit of what it looks like eventually, or hopefully, I guess?
Yeah, like one of the key core services we offer, we call suppression. And like we have built software called Reputation. So it has its own website, Reputation.ca. We built software that basically takes a picture of your search results every day and tracks the movement of the links that are in your search results. So like I Google you, your profile on Shout is there, your LinkedIn, there's like your Instagram, there's a bunch of things. It says like the profile Shout's 1, this is 2, etc. We run that for thousands and thousands of different people. So we're actually able to say what the average rank of any asset is. Like we're looking at, like LinkedIn is on average like a 2.6 in people's profiles. And we do that for thousands of different blogs. So websites, news, like CBC's on there, Wikipedia's on there, all sorts of Facebook, Instagram. So we're actually able to see that if you are not on these things and we add you to them, they'll have a higher average rank than the negative thing about you.
Right.
We
Yeah.
combine that with SEO. So we do a bunch of publishing. We literally, interview people, write content about them, get them posted. We do earned media, get them covered by journalists, things like that. And then we do a whole bunch of pushing on the content, like on whatever's published. Like we'll build links to it, we'll click on it, we'll do a bunch of things to make it rank higher and displace out the negative.
I kind of want to just now move into the future of Reputation.ca, maybe the future of Matt Earle. What is kind of around the corner for you? Where do you see your company headed? Because I know that there's things that you're looking at, as an entrepreneur, we're always looking down the road. We never really like that status quo.
I want to continue to develop the software. Like I find that really empowering. One of the challenges with my business, one of the things that I'm disappointed by is that it's not accessible to everyone. So if you think about all the things I described, does that sound cheap? Like you have to get intelligent people doing all of those things manually to do it. So it's a very expensive process. I want to get to the point where by using our software, people can manage their reputations a lot more cost effectively. And then it can reach a much broader audience rather than just like wealthy people, prominent people, actors, and we get upper middle class lawyers and people where they're dealing with the public, but I want to be able to help more people. So that's one thing with continuing to develop the software. Another interesting thing that's come up recently is Google ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is accessing, I think it's trillions of records. Google is going to come up with a competitor to that, hopefully. Like, wow, they were caught flat-footed on this, but hopefully Google will come up to a competitor to that. Then we'll have to optimize for ChatGPT. Like someone will go, I'm meeting you. Tell me everything I need to know about Suzanne Christie. And they'll put that into ChatGPT instead of Googling you. Maybe.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, for
It's a
sure.
possibility. So we have to make sure that we feed that data set and understand how to get that essay to be positive when it comes out of ChatGPT. So I think that's a new thing, is ChatGPT optimization.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because I mean, I've been living in ChatGPT since the day that I first signed up for it. I use it constantly. I mean, it has some limitations, and I do find sometimes you've got to double check, and the way it's written sometimes is a little too, it doesn't sometimes have that human feel, but I've been using it more and more, and of course it's machine learning, so the more that we all use it, the better it gets. And even in the last 2 months from when I started using it to now, just learning how to work with it, it has become, I mean, it's invaluable. And the amount of time that I save now is just, monumental. But for both of our businesses, AI is going to change a lot of things. It definitely will. And I think in some ways for the better, but maybe in some ways, we'll have to work around certain things. But other than sort of this software development, is there any other thing that you want to talk about your business where you feel like AI is going to make a difference? And it could be, anything related to employees or, how you're hiring or new offerings that you couldn't do before.
Well, I mean, another thing is we do a ton of writing in our business. So we do a ton of writing. Like we literally have a whole bunch of employees who are writers. So that will be interesting. Another is like Google is set up to reward long, interesting content, but you can automatically create long, interesting content now. Like there's a lot of unknowns that are going on that are affected by AI, and the status quo is going to change. It's not obvious how it's going to change, but the way search has worked, the way search marketing has worked, it seems obvious to me that it's going to change in an interesting way. So we just got to kind of continue to think about it, continue to learn, and make sure that we understand how to make sure our clients benefit from those changes moving forward.
So we all have to deal, I think, now with new innovators coming in the market, competitors. And I know when you first started, especially in Canada, there weren't a lot of companies that were doing what you do. I wonder what that competitive landscape looks like now. Is it more of a global landscape? Are you competing with competitors outside of Canada? What's the Canadian market look like? Tell me a little bit about the competitive edge that you have and maybe what sets you apart from your competitors.
We mostly compete with American companies. So there's a few large American companies. We do have somewhat of an advantage because Canadians like to deal with Canadians a little bit. But the American companies are heavily marketing on search, and even the TV ads are creeping in, when people watch like IPTV and streaming and all that kind of stuff. So we heavily compete with American companies. One of the things we've done to make a point of difference between us and our competitors is develop the software so that we're being very quantitative with everything we're doing, and we're measuring and scoring any initiatives or anything that we're doing. So we literally are testing thousands of different SEO techniques and measuring the average rank change that those SEO techniques are causing. We're measuring the starting rank of different things that we can publish for people. We're taking all of this and putting it into software so that we can make intelligent, informed decisions. Someone who just comes along and says, "Oh, I read your blog," which does have all the information you need to do this yourself. Like we have a huge learning center with hundreds of articles. It does have all the information. Someone who comes along and does that doesn't have the software, and they don't have all the interior business intelligence. So we actually have a competitive advantage over these incumbents and people that are coming and starting up.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I think that people are going to find it very interesting. I find it very interesting. I think what you do is, again, I've mentioned it a few times now though, but it's innovative. And I think too, just how you're moving forward and continually evolving is what's going to continue to, and I wish you continued success in what you do. And hopefully we can, chat again at another time as things progress and things go. So thank you very much for chatting with me today. And it's been great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Been on my hustle every day and night. I'm flexing like a shark with an appetite. Have some faith, I'll make you a believer.